All right, let's talk about it. Money and happiness. It's a conversation as old as time, right? But today we're going to look at it from a totally different angle, focusing on a missing piece that might just change how you see everything. You know the saying, I know the saying, we've all heard it a million times. Money can't buy happiness. It's one of those things that feels like a fundamental law of the universe, something we all just accept. End of story, right? Well, maybe not. What if that statement, as true as it feels, is actually incomplete? What if we've only been telling ourselves the setup without ever hearing the punchline? That's what we're going to dive into. So yeah, the idea we're exploring isn't that the saying is wrong, not at all. It's just that it's missing its other half. And just to be super clear, the core idea is absolutely true. You can't just walk into a store and buy a jar of pure, lasting joy. It doesn't work that way. But the real connection between our finances and our well-being, oh, it's so much more subtle and interesting than that. So what is this missing piece? The other half of this whole equation? Well, it all comes down to one simple but incredibly powerful word: peace. More specifically, peace of mind. And boom, here it is, the complete thought. Money can't buy happiness, but it can buy the peace of mind that allows happiness to grow. Think about that for a second. It doesn't create the flower, but it provides the good soil and the quiet space for it to bloom. That is the absolute game changer. And it's so important to see how different these two things really are. You know, happiness is often the high energy stuff. The spikes of joy, enthusiasm, excitement. They're amazing, but they come and go. Peace of mind, though, that's the foundation. It's that steady feeling of safety, of calm, of just having some mental space. One is the lightning strike. The other is the solid ground beneath your feet. This definition just says it all, doesn't it? Financial peace is the space where happiness can breathe. And that makes perfect sense, because how can you possibly be present and joyful with your loved ones if there's a part of your brain that's constantly running calculations, worrying about bills, and stressing about the future? You just can't. Okay, so let's get practical. In the real world, what does this financial peace actually buy you? First things first, let's be very clear about what it's not. This has nothing to do with luxury cars, designer clothes, or fancy vacations you post online. It's got zero to do with opulence or status. In fact, it's pretty much the exact opposite. What it buys you are these simple, quiet, profoundly human freedoms. It's being able to take your kid to the doctor and only worry about your kid, not the bill. It's buying groceries without a running calculator in your head. It's sleeping through the night without that knot of dread in your stomach. It's having the power to say, I quit, to a job that's crushing your soul because you've got a little cushion. This is the kind of freedom that matters. And this leads to a really powerful way to reframe money's role in our lives. If it's not the goal itself, then what is it? Well, think of it less like a target and more like a shield. I mean, think about where the truly good stuff in life comes from. It's always from the things that have no price tag, right? A hug from your child, a quiet dinner where you actually talk, a Saturday morning where you don't have to rush anywhere. Those are the moments that actually make up a good life. And this is where that shield metaphor just clicks into place perfectly. Money isn't the treasure you're chasing. The treasure is all those priceless moments you already have. Money is the shield you use to protect that treasure from the constant, grinding stress that financial instability throws at you. So this all sounds great, but how do you actually build this shield? The best part about this whole idea is that it's not about becoming a millionaire. It's about taking small, intentional steps no matter what your income is. And the steps are surprisingly doable. First, start a small safety fund. Even a little bit each month is a huge step. Second, avoid what's called emotional debt. You know, buying things to impress people instead of for their actual value. Third, make a simple budget that actually works for your life, not one from some finance guru's book. Fourth, when you spend money, think about what you're really buying. Are you buying time, comfort? And number 5, and this is a big one, talk to your partner. This has to be a team sport. So let's bring all this home with one last, really beautiful metaphor that I think just captures this whole idea perfectly. Just think about that. If happiness is sunlight, financial peace is just a clean window. You don't create the sun. It's already out there. But if your window is covered in the mud of stress and worry, none of that light can get in. Financial peace is simply the act of cleaning the window. And that's really the bottom line here. You don't have to be rich to find this peace, but you do have to be attentive to your habits, present in your choices, and responsible for your future.
It's an active practice, not a dollar amount in an account. So, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. What would you do differently if your goal wasn't to buy more things, but to buy yourself just a little more peace? What's one small change you could make, starting today, to start cleaning that window and let a little more of that light in?